You know, sometimes I watch a show and I leave it being like, slice of life is the best genre in anime. And then I catch myself like, yo, what? That's what are you saying? Action, 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 action. And then I brush away that point. But then after a while, I discover another show that I'm like, wow, this is possibly one of the best genres out there. No doubt. I was searching for new shows to watch. A lot of sequels were released in this season, which I am very happy for. You know, things like Jujutsu Kaisen, Hell's Paradise, Frieren. You know, scratch that itch they did when I first was introduced to them. I wanted a new show, but I wasn't in the mood for another isekai. And in my search, I found something rooted in reality, sorta. Something tending to a separate itch. Something that made me realize if you have a director that just gets it, you can do all and more. The show in referral is Journal with Witch. I watched the pilot episode and I am already in love with the story. It rekindled a thought in me like, slice of life is really an underrated genre, but it is also understanding that it is not for everyone, and that's sad. But we're not gonna go into that direction. Instead, let me bring you to my thoughts on this pilot episode, and this is me telling you, if you wanted a show to watch, consider watching this one. Hi, welcome. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for more content from me, and with that being said, stay a bit longer and let's talk about my love for the first episode of Journal with Witch.
かけてくるあ、ごめんうるさかった
ジャスティン・ビーバー歌って
べ
So, slice of life. Not that kind. The reason I feel it is one of the greatest genres in anime is because the concept itself is malleable. You can mold it into any and everything, and you could do it in awesome ways. You can incorporate action, shonen elements, romance elements, but I think slice of life is at its best when it is making you appreciate the little things in life, you know, find deeper meanings and appreciation for the people surrounding you. Whether it is the author or the director, if they really get it right, they can put you in fields you are not going to find anywhere else. I think the best things that come with the concept of animation is exaggeration, you know, being able to push things to the extreme because, well, it is not live action, it is not real per se. So you can stylize characters by making their eyes big or mess with their proportions, you know, make humans run at light speed or literally anything you can think of. It is the realm of letting imagination permeate through the stroke of a pencil and a collection of drawings with sound effects. That is what makes animation such a great thing, making the impossible possible in order to create more stories and life possibilities. But I think there's some beauty in using the medium to tell stories grounded in reality and not in a bland way, because like it or not, life can be boring, but doing it in a way that is still carrying more than just what it is, making you empathetic to the characters because what they go through is something that could happen to you or your friend, make you feel for what the character is feeling without them even saying a word, making you come out and say, wow, that was an experience. There is this sense of unexplainability you sometimes have of being like, wow, I really resonated with this, or wow, I really love this thing. But you don't know the why, and the more you ponder it, the less sense it makes on why you reacted the way you did. And when an author or director is able to tap into those feelings for you, it makes you realize how much power they actually have. The scene can be something like, you know, a boy kicking the ball into the net. That is the thing I just said it is. A ball being kicked into a goalpost. But you add context, past experiences, and characterization, that single act now carries the weight of more than just a ball being kicked. You may, at that moment, roots for the kid. Maybe you hate the kid because he's in an opposing team. You may even feel sad for the kid because maybe that was something he used to play with his dad and now he's no longer there. All of these are great because it makes you care for what is happening. But there's something beautiful and powerful when you are able to portray all these scenarios in either a single word or just a facial expression. And I sometimes feel that is more impactful. The power of simplicity with the famous show don't tell notion told to writers and creatives. So why am I bringing all this up, especially in this video? Well, because Journal with Witch so far has been a masterclass of saying what wasn't said visually. The story involves an aunt with a niece getting to stay together now after the parents of the niece passed in a car accident. The niece essentially doesn't know how to feel about this scenario, and her aunt, well, is as unsociable as me during weekdays. So the story entails the awkwardness between these two characters now living arrangement and how to comfort the thoughts of the losses on both their ends. The aunt and the mom were sisters who didn't like each other. We still don't know why context wise, but with her getting to take care of her daughter, it is likely things will get revealed later on and we'll get a turnaround perspective from the aunt as well. It is indeed a sad experience, but that isn't why I gravitated towards the show this early on. Number one was the character dynamics between the two characters. The aunt being a shy recluse that does nothing but work. I'm assuming she is a writer. We haven't been told, just by, the state of her room. So she doesn't know how to interact with her niece, but still tries nonetheless. She appears cold on the outside, and that's mainly a front to get people to, not talk to her. Don't you know enough introverts already? But the niece is a bit harder to read. She isn't shy or anything, she easily interacts with the aunt character, but you can sense the distance she has with people. This anime explores the aspects of loneliness, how it can be a different thing for two different people, and two words to best explain this show so far is the phrase alone together, which is an oxymoron that somehow makes sense. She, the niece, currently feels empty, and we do not currently have all the context up to this point, but it pivots to the second point of why I love this show already. Number two, it is exceptional at saying things without actually saying things, and not in the way the average anime would do it. Anime, because of the exaggeration aspects I talked about earlier, has to do these things in a way for the viewer to understand what's going on. Sometimes it's lost in translation when adapting a manga, but whether it is Anya saying or every single character's reaction being like, it is exaggerated. But here it is different. Instead, it uses animation and the shots to say what wasn't said, but you need to understand the timing where they cut scenes, letting air breathe on a setting. They just know when to say the words, how to say them, and it really surprised me at how gravitated I was towards the story because of it. There's also something that needs to be said about voice actors nowadays having more subtleties in their acting. It is really cool actually. You have voice actors who are able to really bring the show don't tell aspects of it all. Maybe it's a slight stutter towards a question to show it caught them by surprise, fumbling words in a way that feels natural as you see the character trying to figure out what they actually want to say. It is definitely fascinating to see. This may be the pilot episode phenomenon of putting all eggs in one basket, capture the viewer and then sayonara. I don't know, but I hope they keep this up going forward with the story because I really love it so far. I love the opening song and how it was incorporated into the show in the start. The music of it in general is pleasing. Also, I'm sure they didn't sing Justin Bieber because of copyright, but anyways, it also looks pretty great in terms of animation. Now, of course, I'm not saying this is the greatest episode out there, let's set that straight, but what I am saying is that it does set a bar for shows to be on the lookout for, and I am in love with it. Whether it is the characters, the direction of it all, or the exploration of grief and loneliness, without it being an exaggerated topic of discussion, and it being a nuanced one instead, makes me really excited for the development that is to come for both characters. Anyways, watch the show, not because it is sad, but because it is wholesome. there's a difference. But if you are watching or have watched the show, please let me know down below your spoiler-free review on it. I will most likely be caught up once this goes up, but keep it spoiler-free in case of those who haven't seen it, please. Well, my work here is done. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Visit again sometime, and remember to stay bright out there. Lights out.